At one point it used to be the goal for stand-up comedians to move away from stand-up comedy and move into the movie career, like a Eddie Murphy or a Jerry Seinfeld with a TV show. But now a lot of these stand-up comedy movies just aren't very good. I recently saw the trailer for Nate Bargatze's new movie, which it looks like just like a reboot of Mr. Mom, but with Nate Bargatze. He's a dad. He has to stay at home with the kids. Whoa, it's so crazy. He's helping the kids do with their homework, and he's doing a bad job at it. There's been this trend like past few years where like a lot of studios, once they recognize that a movie or a stand-up comedian is starting to gain popularity, they try and capitalize on that by taking some aspect of their act or their on-stage persona, turning that into a movie. Like Nate Bargatze's whole thing is like being a family man, comedian, dad, whatever. So let's just make a movie about him being a dad. I watched one a couple years ago called About My Dad, starring Sebastian Maniscalco. And the thing is, the whole movie was just Sebastian's act, but like condensed and like with dialogue. So it's like he is an Italian dad, and and his wife, they have a normal white family, but this Italian dad is, and then like if you're familiar with their act, all the like big jokes and punchlines of the movie are just, their act. It's weird because a lot of them don't have like the star power to convert their comedy fans to their, go to see their movies. These movies don't typically perform well. They're not entirely, critical hits as well. There was a period of time where Judd Apatow was making a lot of movies that were kind of based on comedians. He did the Trainwreck movie with Amy Schumer, which was just it wasn't bad. It was just about like she's a lady, but she's having trouble dating, but then she meets the perfect guy, but she's kind of a mess. And then they had the King of Staten Island, which is kind of about like Pete Davidson. He's like he's a shitty guy from Staten Island. He's not the best guy. He gets in some trouble. But these movies never focus on like the comedian aspect of these people. It's just like the comedy character, but like if they lived a regular life. What else? The worst one out of all of these, I didn't see it, so it might be a good movie. I don't know. But they made the Machine movie, which was they made like a film version of Bert Kreischer's The Machine story that he tells. But Bert Kreischer, he's too old. He takes place in college, so they cast a younger guy to play him. But then they have to age it up so that way it makes sense for him to be going to Russia, and it's like he's now in normal regular age, current age Bert Kreischer, but they're trying to make it about the Machine story. You're getting the comedian. You think like this is an arena act comedian, a big hotshot star. Let's just write like a simple script that's kind of like based on certain jokes or stories they tell in their act, and then hope that general audiences will find it entertaining enough to come out. But I mean, first of all, people aren't even going to movie theaters anymore. But second of all, it's just like I don't think these guys have the movie draw that maybe the studios might think they have. One that I think did pretty well was the Kumail Nanjiani movie, The Big Sick, which was kind of like inspired by his stand-up and him starting out in stand-up, but that leaned more into the stand-up side of it. Also, I think he wrote this one or had a part in writing it. I don't know how many of these guys are actually like writing these movies. It feels like, as I saw the Sebastian Maniscalco one. It feels like someone just like watched a bunch of his comedy and then like wrote a story that involved like all his biggest hits, and then we have a movie now. No, I don't think you should. I think you should, if you're gonna give a stand-up comedian a movie. Here's a little advice: if you're gonna give a stand-up comedian a movie, then let them come up with the plot and the story, and if they don't want to do that, and they're expecting someone else to write it, then just don't fucking make the movie. Like, it's the reason people respond well to these comedians is because they are doing the talking and they're giving you their story. But if it's coming from someone else who isn't like intimately involved with them writing a story that's based on their life, it's not going to hit the same way. It's not going to feel. And then it's like they have to like cast actors to play their like spouses, and that's kind of weird. and then you have to like do the movie premieres and all that. I don't know. The Hollywood shit is just weird to me. If these comedians they're making millions of dollars on the road, they could just make their own movie. But I'm not going to tell anyone what to do with their money, especially if they're not have interest in putting something together like that. I think Tires is another example of something where it's kind of like, let's take Shane Gillis's personality and put it into a show. I know that him and his kind of crew, they'll have a hand in writing that. I just don't think they're the best writers or really have a solid process for story or anything like that. But at least with them, they have full creative control. Like with this Nate Bargatze, I don't even know if he had any say in this. I think the studio came to him with like $2 million, like, just we'll put your name on this movie, and then here you go. I don't know, but who cares what I think? They're gonna make the movies. Someone's gonna see them. The comedians are already getting paid off of it, so it doesn't matter. I mean, Kevin Hart. How many movies does he do now? That like the movies do people even still watch Kevin Hart movies? And then now you have like guys like Bradley Cooper making movies that are about stand-up comedy and comedians. And he's not even a comedian; he's just making this movie. But that movie, it wasn't really about comedy. It's about Will Arnett getting a divorce. And I saw Will Arnett has been doing comedy now, which is kind of he did it for this movie, and now he's doing it in real life. That's a little weird how he converted to that, but good for him. Anyways, have you seen any of those comedian movies? Are they good? Do people like them? I don't care. I like them. I think I like that people are making things. I'll say that. I like that people in the entertainment have jobs. How about that? Is that a good answer? All right. Anyways, let me know what you think down below. Thanks for watching this. Hopefully, this one's a bit shorter, but hopefully, you got something out of this. And I'll see you next time. Big peace.